Hey folks, hope you guys are having a good one. We're going to do a little bit of work on the map. I didn't do a stream earlier because I think I'm going to let the Friday evening stream go and spend more time with my family. That's like my plan, and especially since I was done. And then I can go back to doing more streams like during prime time. When it's time to like front load another project, when it's time to fund the visual novel or an album or something like that. But I'm still working on the map for the King Leper fulfillment. I should have my proof copy here in a couple days. It took way too long for them to ship it. I paid for expedited shipping and that pretty much did nothing. So if you're ever using Ingram Spark, which I wanted to try them out instead of Lulu because of the lower price point, just be aware that they took a really long time to do anything, which is weird because they are the ones who do a lot of the fulfillment for Amazon's print-on-demand stuff, and that stuff will get to you in like 2 days, easy. So if I had used Amazon to fulfill the hardback, I probably would already have fulfilled the campaign. But the price point on the books would have to be probably higher, and I wouldn't have had a jacketed hardback. I would have had something else. So anyway, I'm gonna link the video that I got going here. Actually, yeah. I'll link this video. You guys should subscribe to the music channel if you like this kind of floaty background music with some occasional guitar solos and stuff in there. That's my No Talkie channel. No Talkie channel. All right, let's take a look at the map. Where is it? Let me see if I can get I don't know how I'm going to get like the map and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out right now. Let's see here. There it is. All right, let's see if I can get this into my usual drawing position. I've also kind of taken my foot off the gas for a lot of videos lately. And the reason for that, there's no particular reason other than, I have continued to make content, but I don't want to make content like outside of one of these push months. I don't want to kill myself making content, right? I don't want to have to stress my mind thinking of content because then I won't be doing the other stuff, which I need to be doing, right? Which is stuff like this. So you can see my process here for a lot of the stuff that I've been doing with this map. That is going to fill the whole thing in black because we're on the wrong layer. There we go. So I'm working on drawing some coastlines and just going around here and finding details to fix as I'm going, and I'll be adding in more details once I add in the features here and there. Since I'm on this line here, I'm going to be adding a bunch of little islands because I realized as I kind of got in the zone earlier drawing this, and I was like, wait, I forgot the barrier islands that I have in certain places, a lot of places like this will have little extra islands, barrier islands, because of the way that waves and erosion work, especially if you look at something like the coast of Texas. So I try to put those in the southern coast of this little continent. You'll find a lot of barrier islands because they, that's what I see on certain kinds of coastlines. Whereas California, there's not really a lot of barrier islands because it's very rocky and mountainous right up to the edge. When you have these more flat plains, you tend to get more like sandbars and stuff like that. So I want to reflect more of that in the way that the map is constructed, like doing more little islands like this that kind of go off. And we can even do a couple islands off the coast, like a little further off the coast once we start to work in. One of the great things about this sort of process of doing this stuff by yourself is you really can just let your imagination go wild and really think about how you want your geography to look. You can be as creative as you want to be, kind of adding in whatever kind of stuff you want. Like you want a really long island, like I'll do a little long island right here. a long kind of skinny island, and that'll be part of our, you can imagine some people living out there, which is fun. And when I'm done with this map, I'm going to do this map for a couple minutes. I'm going to play some games to wind down, and I'm going to try that for some of our streams. Just to have more interaction with people, because I do enjoy talking to people with the streams. I didn't like that island. I'm going to redo it. That's the beauty of this. Am I on the right one? Oh, I'm not doing it on the right layer. Let me switch to coast. I want this on the coastal layer, not the mountain layer. Not that it matters that much if we do an island. It's just, if we want to add effects, like I could thicken all the lines with an effect if I want. And that needs to be in one layer so I can have more control over everything I'm doing here. And if I want like the rivers to have a little more detail, I can do that. Again, like these kind of coves, a lot of times you'll see just like a little island kind of in the cove. And then when we do the waves, it'll go around that island. And whenever you have a long peninsula, a lot of times you have, an island kind of hanging out there. And I like looking at stuff like this. You have a big cove like this. You're probably going to have, for instance, right here, there's going to be a barrier island right here. We might have another one here. Something like Galveston Island is what I'm thinking of. Versus like Catalina or something, which would be a bigger island like you have in California. Or, big islands like Corsica or whatever. Put these I played an F natural in that line right there. Oh. Now I think it sounds cool. Now that I've heard myself play that F natural a couple times, I'm like, no, that F natural was cool. Now I like the F natural. Is that a weird thing to say? And I like the happy little mistakes. Oh, how many people we have watching? 22. I don't ever trust that. If you're in the chat, say hi. I'm going to play Expedition 33 again tonight, which was pretty fun to play it the other night. I was playing a game, and I'm going to make a game recommendation. Balatro, if you have the PS Plus membership, it's a free game for May. This game was totally off my radar because it was like a deck builder. I'm like, roguelike deck builder. Because it uses poker hands, it's so easy to pick it up and play it. And so, like, I played it. I figured it out a little bit. I played it for a long time. What's up, chat? What's up, Darth Sarek? What's up, Augustus? Augustus. I have a special chat on YouTube that is actually Augustus. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Because I'm looking at things on Restream. Pop it up here. Let's hop over here. I guess mute the stream here. All right, where's the special emoji? Boom. There you go, Augustus. You can put the robots in. Alright. It's Caesar Augustus. Maybe it's Julius Caesar. I thought I did Augustus. I might have done Julius Caesar. You see some of these islands like this in the Levant, like in Israel, has a lot of these little islands right off the coast. It's kind of cool. And when I have a cove like this tends to make like some of these little barrier islands. And then as you get down here, kind of here with the full ocean, you don't get quite as much of them. But I think I'm going to add one right here though, that I think is cool. Island touch there. Erase this. So yeah, Balatro. That's the game. It is a lot of fun. So if you're a poker player, if you're someone that really likes poker, I would say it's probably a probably a cool game to pick up and try out. And I was thinking of my friend Mike. I bet he would really like it. So, but I haven't seen him on Steam in forever, so I don't know if he still is like playing Steam games or he's just what he's doing in terms of games. If he's like just playing on Battle.net, or if he's just not gaming at all and just like focusing on other fun things like his music. Another little island there. There's little islands in here. And you get to like, there's some areas with like some fjords and have some islands like that. What's up, Jared? Hope you're having a good one, hanging out with me late. So I might do some streams like this. I did these for a while, a couple years ago, where I just would like stream in the middle of the night when it was like I'm done with my work. It's time to play a game. So I may just stream the work too, like this, because people sometimes like this kind of stuff. And it gives me something to do with my mouth, I guess, as we kind of hang out here. This is the Isles of Bont, or no, these are the Forsetti Isles. Bont is over by. See, I had like a whole story that had Bont in it in my mind, but I never used it. Typical me. Name a place and never use it in a story. That is totally me. Life is funny. I'm going to share a little anecdote. It's like I have a friend from like graduate school that I occasionally log into Facebook and like look at my friends from graduate school. Do you try to closely follow geologic processes with making a map? I do. Not closely, but generally. So rivers flow down from high areas to low areas. You make canyons. And rivers work like that. Deserts occur in rain shadows. That's all part of my maps. I feel like that lends a little extra realism to things. I'm not a geologist or anything like that. It's just I like to add those extra details because I think they do kind of enhance the story. Even though like the story doesn't take place on a map, right? The story is not a map. The story is a story. Anyway, I was giving you an anecdote. Okay, so here's the anecdote. Okay, which is that I had this friend from graduate school. I still have her as like a friend on Facebook. And I occasionally keep up with her because she became like like an English professor. And an author. Like, she's written some books. I got one of her books, and I'm not gonna say too much bad about it, but I didn't find it, considering I knew her during some of the periods that she mentioned in the book, I didn't really find it very honest. And if you were to read it, you'd be like, oh yeah, she's definitely not being really truthful right here for certain things. And she posted a thing about like growing up abused and stuff, which is really funny because that would directly contradict what she wrote in like her book and what she told to me as a human, right? As I knew her. But maybe you decide to change your story at some point, right? That happens. And it's like everything about her, you know, you guys make jokes about like the victim Olympics. And it's just like what she does. That's like her whole shtick. That's like what all her stuff is about. And because she's a white woman, it's hard to win the victim Olympics as a white woman. Because you're not a black woman. You know? If you were a black woman, it might be a little easier for you. That's all I'm saying. So, you know, she has to be disabled. And then she has to be abused. And it has to be something misogynistic, right? Because she's turbo lefty in a college environment, right? You can't be well adjusted. I mean, by definition, leftists are not well adjusted, like hard leftists. I'm not talking about people who are like, well, I think we should have welfare. It's like, yeah, okay. I might disagree, but it's not like an unreasonable thing to talk about. Most people grasp it when I'm like turbo lefties. They're like, oh yeah, I know the blue-haired turbo lefty type. She's not a blue hair, but you have to do it. Like you have to perform the little, you know, the little minutes of hate. You have to perform that kind of stuff in order to have an academic career. I remember this stuff, you know, from my time as an academic. Yeah, see, here's more of the little barrier islands that I have. So I have some big ones. I'm going to go back and add some little ones. Shrink my pen down here. Let's go down to about 20. And we'll add some little ones here and there, just to kind of round out our appearances here. Another thing I can do is I can just go back to these and thicken some of these little ones up a bit. You know, just kind of trace over them like this. You know, I want these to be a little bit bigger. I want it to be a little bit obvious that they are, in fact, little islands and not you know, not, I don't know, figments of like parts of the waves, I guess. Like we'll get rid of these and just kind of redraw them. They don't need to be precisely the way they were in the previous maps, right? And I can just trace over this one to get the gist there. All right. So those are a little bit thicker. A little bit thicker guys here. Let's trace around these. See, these are a little too small, so I'll probably erase some of these and just redraw them a little bit with a little more weight to them. Because the scale of the original here was really very fine. It was a lot smaller than what I used for this size map. So if you get to this part of the map, which is the stuff from Needle Ash and from King Leper, you find, oh, it's a lot smaller down here, right? Things are indeed smaller. Like this one, we're gonna have to, it's pretty close, this little barrier island. So, but yeah, I was like, you know what, like when people get into the academic world of like, this is Bont right here, this funny little island. You know, they transform. You have to transform into a different creature. You have to kind of put your cloak up. You have to. That's the best way I could put it, is like you cloak up, you know, you put your cloak up so that people can't detect who you really are. Because if they detected who you really are, you'd get fired. And that is such a hard thing. That is such a hard thing to deal with. And I know because I've been there, right? I was an academic. And I spent a lot of time in that environment. I spent a lot of time Basically having to be very stealthy and to like shut up a lot. You have to shut up a lot in the academic world, because you can lose your career at any point for having any kind of opinion that is just a little bit outside of the orthodox for those kinds of people. Those kinds of people, you know. I just want to say that I'm glad you have the channel you do. I've really enjoyed the wide range of content. Thank you for watching. I heard you say you wish you had kept your channel anonymous, and also that you would have been more focused with the music only channel. Yes, it's true.
Problem solved. Fiverr's got talented freelancers.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you found it with the WoW Classic Guide. I would love to play more WoW. I actually have not played WoW. The last time I played it was when Dragonflight came out, and I played through it, and I did the first raid, and I did a review. I did a little review of it, and then I was like, yeah, I'm done. You know, it's okay to be done, and I think I'm done with the game. I don't think the game is going to get better. I don't see that happening, and so, yeah, I think that's it for me. And I haven't been back. And part of it is that, like, over time, my group of friends that I had played with for years just fell away. They stopped really playing the game. And instead, they're doing other things with their life, which is fine. They're playing other games. They're not playing WoW. WoW requires a certain amount of time commitment. I have one friend, I think, that still plays WoW. No, that's not true. I have two or three, but two of those only play like classic versions of WoW. They do not play, they don't play retail WoW at all. And I'm like, dude, I'm with you. Retail sucks. And it's like, people will defend retail. They'll be like, retail is still the best MMO that's out there. And I'm like, that says more about the badness of the market than it does about the goodness of WoW, for sure. It's unfortunate, but it is very true, as near as I can see it. Yeah, I would love for WoW to be good again, but it's not. Do you find that nighttime brings about different ideas for creative projects than daytime? Absolutely. And there's a few reasons for this. First of all, you have different visual stimuli at night. It's dark. And so I feel like you can be more imaginative in the dark, right? We dream in the dark. We dream in the twilight. Like, the most inspiring time for me, the time when I get the most thoughts, is actually twilight. Like, around sunset. That's why so much of that you can find that theme in a lot of my work. Not a theme, but like, you could find that, I don't know what to call it, like an aesthetic relationship. You can find that in my work pretty often, and that's why. But at night, you are more focused. You have less distractions. There's less things demanding your attention. You're maybe alone more, right? Like, I'm alone right here, except for you guys. But I don't have my kids, like, asking for PBJ or something, right? I'm not asking for peanut butter jelly sandwiches or something, right? So because of that, I'm really able to have a different approach to my work. I'm able to be more focused on it. And so that creates different creative ideas. You know, a lot of this music that you're hearing, I recorded this at night. It's more relaxed, it's more subdued, it's less aggressive, your energy's winding down. And for me, my mental energy is stronger in the nighttime than the daytime by a lot. I have more things to think about at nighttime than at daytime. My mind is more active. I have more ideas, and in my opinion, better ideas at night. I feel a lot more creative at night personally. And I've always been a night owl. That's always been part of who I am. And it's okay if that's not you, by the way. So everybody's different. Some people are more creative in the morning. Like, the energy of the morning gets you more going, right? You you get more excited to do stuff in the morning. And that's also fine, right? Lots of people are more excited to do stuff in the morning than the nighttime. All right, see, I have a lot of these extra little islands here. There's less here on this side. And then I have a bunch here. These are like some barrier islands. These are kind of, it made me think of like the Straits of Magellan. You know, what hours do you work the most? Yeah, maybe you should try later. Just try experimenting, like, because everybody's different. And you have, the first commandment is really to know thyself. Like, are you the kind of person that stays up late and gets excited to just be up late and like hanging out, playing games? That actually might be a really good time to work, because you might get really excited and focused and interested in what you're doing. You know, the song Twilight by Electric Light Orchestra does describe that feeling well. The solitude at night is more reflective for me as well. Yeah. Have you ever tried using ChatGPT for dictation? Nope. It not only converts the words into speech, but also automatically capitalizes and punctuates everything. Nope, I have not, and I probably won't. I like the act of typing. I don't like to dictate. I've never liked it personally, and that's not anything against you or anyone else. But I don't like to dictate, unless I absolutely have to. I am not a person who dictates. I write the way I speak, but I do not dictate. That is me. Okay, let's keep looking around here. I think I've put a lot of islands on this other... This is like the Drycenith Empire area of the map. So I do want to add a couple more, like... There should be like a few more things in here, but that's about it. And then we'll go back and start adding some waves. Yeah, I added a lot of stuff. Okay. So I wanted to add some more islands onto that side. That's done. Let's go do some more coast work. So this upper part is blank because I'm actually going to cut the map off. It's bigger. The canvas ended up being slightly bigger than I wanted it to be. So we're going to cut the top off the map, and we'll probably cut this side off here as well. There's a little ad. Wonderful. Reverb ad. Buy, sell, trade on Reverb. There we go. Yeah. So, you know, there was another one that people were using a couple years ago called Dragon. And, you know, that's fine. You know, if you're the kind of person who likes to dictate, if that's how it is, like verbalizing the sentence is what's really important to you. I mean, I verbalize it when I type, but not like out loud. But if you really like to verbalize things out loud, then, you know, that might be a great piece of software, like a great tool in the arsenal. Yeah. Or just may help you to get like more stuff on the page. Maybe you're out somewhere, you know, and you just want to dictate it into a recording and have your computer program kind of write it down for you later. That maybe that's a cool thing to do too. I could see a lot of people doing that and being productive with it, but that's not something I do personally. Adjust our pin size here. I'm going down to, I believe, 12. I believe I'm doing 12. It's amazing how cheap dictation is getting. Kevin J. Anderson used to pay thousands of dollars a year to have his dictation converted into writing. Kevin J. Anderson wrote a book. He wrote a book with Neil Peart of Rush. It was a tie-in novel for the Rush album Clockwork Angels. And I love ideas like that. I found out there's a British power metal band called Fellowship, and they did like a tie-in light novel to like their fantasy stuff. And it wasn't very good, but I really appreciated that they did that. You know, it was written by the singer, and he's just, you know, it reads like a new writer. You know, somebody who's kind of new to writing, and so it's very excited towards the ideas. If this makes sense. So let me see if I can think of a way to quantify this, right? Oh shoot, I'm doing it on the wrong one. I need to do it on waves. There's a reason for that. I gotta redo all that. Edit. Oops, I did something. Okay, now we're in the waves. That's where we need to be. Sorry. Anyway, I was excited that you did that. Like a new writer, you get very excited about your ideas and like what your ideas are doing, and that's great. You know, that's a great place to start. What comes with experience, I think, is knowing how to execute those a little bit better. A lot of times that gets kind of turned into this discussion over editing, or like, that kind of stuff. But it's really just knowing how to articulate your ideas better, and also knowing how to pick which ideas you're going to focus on. That comes with maturity as well. And that is maybe closer to editing, but it's more just knowing this is like the important parts of the story, and I'm just going to write those parts. Yeah, it's a lot easier to revise when you haven't already written things that need to be gotten rid of from your manuscript. You know, if you never write the parts that don't need to be in your story, it's so much easier to revise your book.
Are you really?
Oh, I have learned that.
We do this training once a year. There's 800,000
nice
to a million
ad
people
here.
to join us.
Yeah, I learned that, you know. I learned that with like my first few stories, my first few scripts that I wrote. Was like, no, you need to not write the stuff that's not story essential. And because me and my writing partner were writing comedies, this was like, but this is a great gag. And the feedback we got is that might be a great gag, but you need to write that gag in a scene where something is happening. Right? The characters need to be doing something that matters to the story in that scene that's really funny. You know, it's great that you wrote a funny scene. Because we were thinking of movies like Super Troopers that would really just have scenes because they were funny. And not really because they mattered all that much. So that's like, well, we're going to have that. It's like, you have a pretty plot heavy script here. You need to actually focus on the plot. It's good feedback. It's really good feedback early on to have editors do that. Do you like the Swedish band Hammerfall? You look just like the singer. Yeah, I've heard that a couple times. I look like Joachim Kahns or Joachim Kahns. I've never gotten to meet him. I met Ed Guy. So I met Ed Guy when Hammerfall was on tour with Ed Guy. Ed Guy was actually opening for Hammerfall. And Ed Guy came out front and hung out with us for a while. We were standing in line to get in. We're like at the front of the line. And like they came out and hung out with us. How cool is that? We're like, we were with these guys who drove from Salt Lake City to LA to see Hammerfall and Ed Guy. They're like, we drove like 900 miles to see you. And they're like, that's great. We flew like 7,000 miles to see you. They were really funny and really nice guys. Was Ed Guy. They were some great guys to talk to. We talked to Tobias Sammet and Felix Bonke, and Jens Ludwig. We talked to those guys, and they were so cool. Now Hammerfall, we actually could have hung out with Hammerfall afterwards, because they went to the Rainbow to hang out afterwards, which is where Lemmy used to hang out. But they actually used to live in LA. So multiple members of Hammerfall, at least at that time, lived in LA. I know Stefan Elmgren and Joachim Kahns went to MI there, Musicians Institute, which I had a couple friends that went there, which is kind of like a private, pop-focused music school. So it's like, yeah, we're like coming back home. We're going to the Rainbow after this. If you guys want to come hang out. We're like, we kind of gotta drive back to Fresno. But they were cool. They were cool guys. Yeah, they did Flulaborg. They had this, like, it was very German. It was very, like, almost silly German. It's like, yeah, we flew 7,000 miles to meet you. We're like, oh, dude, you guys are cool. You even have that, you have the crazy German accent and everything. We love you. And boy, both of those bands were just so great to see live. Talk about great players. Magnus Rosen was in the band. Magnus Rosen. And I believe he had gone to MI as well. Of course, you had Anders Johansson, who had been in Yngwie Malmsteen's band in LA. So, it's just like going back home for him. That's why Family Guy got old, because the gags had nothing to do with the story. Yeah, they were very, like Peter fighting a chicken. It's like, the first time that you have something that's completely ridiculous and has nothing to do with anything, you're like, what? And it's really funny, but after they've done that like 10 times, it's not as funny. And I think South Park had a couple jokes about that. My humor's nothing like Family Guy. Wait, I need to coast. I remember all these layers that I'm working with, because so we just can refine some of these lines here. Let's make them a little better. Find this line here. Make everything nice and smooth. Nice and smooth looking. Very nice. It's an opportunity when I see something to like stop and fix anything that's there. It's coming along. I still have to do some of the features. There's some more like little hills I need to draw. And then once all this is done, then we'll do all the text, and it's going to be a crap ton of text, because this map is 10 to 20 times bigger than any map I've done. That's why it's taking so long to do this map. I'm like working on it in all my free time, and it was just a really stupid thing to reward to put in. But I'm kind of hoping once I'm done with it, like in the future, instead of drawing a new map for a section of a story, I can just like grab a piece of this map and like put it in the story. You just grab like zoom in, take a photo, and boom, there's your map for the story, guys. It's just like a little close-up of where the story takes place on this giant map. South Park had the gag with Family Guy jokes being written by, yes, they were written by manatees. Or maybe it was dolphins. I thought it was manatees. They would just pick random topics. That time that we saw Al Pacino in McDonald's, right? That kind of stuff. So they had a whole gag about it, which was pretty funny. But I haven't watched South Park in quite a while. I'm not sure if I changed or South Park changed, but I just didn't find it as funny as I used to find it the last few times I watched it. Like they had, I think COVID, I don't know, the COVID humor just didn't really, like it was okay, but it just didn't really land for me. It just didn't feel that funny. Maybe because I knew too many people that were so serious about it that like I couldn't even laugh at them, because it's like laughing at Pol Pot or something. I'm like, I can't laugh at Pol Pot. Maybe that's extreme. They weren't nearly at the level of Pol Pot, but I don't know how to put it. So one thing I can actually do here that's kind of cool. What time is it? We got about 8 more minutes of this. Is I can put a circle around this, and then you can do 2 like that. But actually, I'm not going to do that because that's going to look weird. There's a couple ways that you can do these little waves. Notice how long it takes for me to like do them. And I'm doing 3 around the entire map. Like this is a not insignificant amount of work to do this map. Especially because I like my stuff to be good, you know. And I want it to be authentic. Authenticity is important for me. Let's go to the coast here, and with this thin pin I can just kind of like refine this whole kind of approach of this river here, kind of thicken this up so you get this idea. And we can also add like some little tags here. Like that. Perfect. Just have more stuff. I gotta say the new Kanye West song is one of the finest shitposts of this generation. I can't think of somebody doing something more transgressive of like less wit. You know, there's nothing particularly witty about making a song called Heil Hitler. If you catch my meaning. But since it's already been banned from every streaming service, you get the idea that like, oh, this is something that is actually transgressive. Like we haven't had anything that was really banned since like the early 80s, I feel like, with some of the crazier punk stuff. You know, like G.G. Allen or, you know, Anti-Nowhere League or stuff like that. Metallica actually covered an Anti-Nowhere League song that I believe is still banned in the UK for obscenity. Because it's like, you know, it's talking about raping animals and children in it. Quite bad when you think about it. Let's see. Is this coast? Can I get this little dot there? There we go. Manatees. Oh, it was manatees. All right. Doesn't matter. The point is large marine mammals that write the gags for them. I'm doing waves. Like we can do the waves in the lake here. I'll just do 2. There you go. The lake's done. Yeah. Hammerfall are awesome guys. Saw them live a second time in 2023 and got to talk to the drummer. And I'm a drummer myself. He gave me a crash cymbal and 2 sets of sticks. Really awesome. Yeah, very nice guys. And I got to meet Alex Landenberg and the guys from Camelot. Alex Landenberg watched the channel. That's how he was into the channel and he asked me to come to the show. I was like, how cool is that? It was so cool to meet the guys from Camelot. What a great bunch of guys they were. Very, very kind, very generous people. Especially Alex, the drummer. Alex Landenberg. He's such a nice fellow to me. You know who bought me dinner one time was John Dolmayan. Another guy. John Dolmayan's like a very conservative guy as well. And I think that's why System of a Down doesn't like get along as well. Is like John's like Trump or die. You know? The other guys are shit libs. Ye's song is peak surrealism for our postmodern era. That's a great way of putting it. It's surrealism for postmodern. Banning it's just emphasis how toothless and boring the run-of-the-mill industry. If they had done, you know, edginess is like Little Nas X grinding on Satan, boring. All right, if he'd done Hail Satan, like everyone would be talking about it. It'd be all over Spotify. But he can't write a song that says Hail Hitler or Heil Hitler. Which, you know, yeah, you point out it's toothless, yeah. That's a great way of putting it. You know, we get that, like, there are certain things we actually are not allowed to say. You're allowed to be transgressive in the way that is permissible by the people who are in charge. You know. That freedom to be transgressive is going to be limited to your ability to be transgressive in the way that it is approved. And that's kind of what the song was about, right? You know, as weird as that may sound, that's a lot of what it was about. It's like, I'm the villain, so you're making me into the villain, I'll just be the villain. I'll just be bad. I'll just be, you know, I'll just say Heil Hitler. Like, no one's allowed to be anti-Semitic. That is the great crime. It's the great thought crime right now. I don't know, and we're in this time where, like, it's super not okay to be anti-Semitic, and yet there's a huge push to be critical of Israel for depopulating the Gaza Strip, which actually fits the UN's definition of genocide. Right? This is a very serious thing. I'm not throwing that out there lightly. It's like they're removing people from their land and replacing them with other people. That's the goal. Right? And this is being done by Jews. And if you look at the history of not just Gaza, but all of Palestine, that's what it is. It's displacing, very much displacing the native people to the benefit of a foreign people. You know? I don't like the way that one looked. Let's try that again. It's a little better. From a certain point of view, it's Conway's version of Let It Go. Yeah. Yeah, in our secular age, Hitler's occupied the place Satan once had, right? That's a great way of putting it. You know what? And it's a pretty catchy tune, I gotta say. It's super simple. It doesn't even have a second verse. It's all one verse, and then it just goes into chorus forever, and then like a Hitler speech. And like that is the way it's constructed. It's really not a particularly like interestingly made song at all, but it does kind of catch you with that 4/4. That it's like a syncopated triplet. you know, that feeling is kind of catchy. I may not even be able, I mean, I'm talking about it on YouTube here, but like it may be a thing that's like it's not kosher to talk about it. Like I could, maybe something bad will happen because I'm mentioning the song. That could be a thing too, because there's all kinds of things that if you know about YouTube, you know that you can't say certain things on YouTube. And so that's why whenever somebody's in the chat asking about the Jewish question or something like that, the JQ, I'm like, okay, you're just trying to get me banned from YouTube. You're trying to trick me into getting myself banned. You're an enemy. You're banned. I'm going to ban you from the chat. Because either you're too stupid to know that I actually can't answer that, even to be contrarian, even to be against, even to like do the diligence. Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong layer again. Yep. Oops. There he goes. All right. Waves. But while I'm here, I'm going to clean this up a little bit. You know? I don't have free speech on YouTube. I can't just say whatever I want on YouTube. You know? The robot, there's lots of things the robot just is not going to let you say. I'm planning on moving to the US from Sweden. Which state would you say is the most affordable, with low taxes and so on? And it has to be a conservative state. Been thinking about Kentucky and Texas. Well, I live in Texas. I used to live in California. The most conservative state is probably Oklahoma. But honestly, it's Texas is huge. So if you're in Sweden, Texas is going to be the size of all of Scandinavia put together in terms of geography. Right? That's how big Texas is. So I live in I think it might actually technically be a rainforest. So I live in Houston, the Houston area, not actually in Houston, but near the city of Houston. And it's, I think, the second rainiest city in the United States. You go 1,000 miles west, 1,600 kilometers west, you're still in Texas, but you're in the desert. You're in El Paso at that point, one of the driest cities in the United States. And it goes all the way. It goes from rainforest, subtropical weather, all the way up to burning hot desert, high desert. Texas has a lot going on. So Texas is cool. I like Texas. No state income tax. So you just have to pay federal income tax. Property taxes are relatively high depending on the county. I live in Clark County. No, that was when I lived in Nevada. I live in Harris County. Harris County somewhat has a bad reputation for its high taxes and its crime, but that's because most of the city of Houston is in Harris County. My congressman is Dan Crenshaw. And he lives somewhere near me. Old One Eye. That's my congressman. Let's go to smooth this out a little bit here. There you go. Perfect. So yeah, I have some friends that live in Arkansas. I have a cousin that lives in Arkansas, and he likes it. Arkansas has a little bit better weather than Texas, especially Gulf Coast Texas, where it rains a lot. You know, Mississippi. Mississippi is very low cost. No state income tax, 7% sales tax. Very conservative state too. Lawsuit here is even what overturned Roe v. Wade. Yeah. So Mississippi, all of the Gulf Coast states are going to be cool. Are going to be fairly conservative. Even Florida. Florida is the most liberal, but you know, it's still a fairly conservative state. Texas is probably the second most liberal, still a very fairly conservative state. Louisiana, maybe Louisiana is the most liberal, but it's still fairly conservative state, you know, once you get outside of New Orleans. And Mississippi and Alabama. Georgia, I don't know. Georgia could go either way, but it's mostly conservative. Arkansas is very conservative. Oklahoma is very conservative. New Mexico on the other side of Texas has become very liberal with time, which is very weird. I didn't see that happening when I was first looking at this kind of thing. So it's there's a lot, right? But I'll tell you, if you are from Sweden, you should come visit these areas before you decide to move to them. Because Texas, especially East Texas, Mississippi, same thing, Gulf Coast. Mobile, Alabama, I believe, is the rainiest city in the United States. It's hot. It's hot in the summer, and it's humid. California can get very hot. Nevada can get very hot in the summer. But it's a dry heat. Arizona can get really hot, but again, it's a dry heat. It's the heat that kicks you in the face when you're out in the sun, but you can kind of get in the shade, and it's a little better once you get into the shade. So, yeah. The taxes here are just crazy. We have 25% VAT sales tax on almost everything. Yep, I'm aware of that. See, that's another thing too, is like with tariffs. It's like, dude, these guys pay like a 25% tax. The tariffs are insane on U.S. goods. But nobody knows about that because we've kind of engaged in unilateral free trade for a long time. And most people are not having to deal with trying to import things into, for example, Canada even, right? Like Canada has all kinds of ways that they just will suck your money up trying to get products into Canada. You know, make you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for like UPC codes and stuff like that. So, kind of an interesting thing. I'm just kind of smoothing out some of these little details here. Lots of little details. Something here. Most people are not going to notice all these little things, but I care about them, so trying to make them good. Oh, you're not. It's on the wrong tile there. Let's fix that. This line up a little bit here. Looks good. All right. I'll go a little bit further. I really like to get a lot done in a night, and then I'll play just a little bit of games. I have a lot of family in Louisiana. It's not as nice a place to live as Mississippi overall. That said, if you're into nightlife, live music, New Orleans is pretty peak. New Orleans has a good party scene. You know, it does have a good party scene. But I think, if I'm being honest, I think any of the big cities are going to have a good party scene. I think Houston and Dallas have great party scenes. If you're looking at Texas, because Texas is so big, right? It's like, well, where do you want to live in Texas? There are so many options. Oh my gosh, I'm doing this again. Mountains. Let's fix this. You know, Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, San Antonio. Dallas has a really big nightlife. Houston does as well. Houston has rodeo culture, despite being in the forest. You know, I live in the woods basically. There's the largest breeding population of alligators in the U.S. I guess is within the city limits of Houston, which is crazy. We have alligators in my town. Alligators are fun if you're into alligators. Love the low end of this music. Very nice on the headphones. I'll try to catch us on the replay. Thanks. Trying to get to bed earlier. Hopelessly nocturnal. Me too. But I just got to this point and I'm like, I need to get some stuff done and then I need to wind down. So this is, I'm trying to, what did I do for the low end? I think it's a guitar in drop C. So it's playing that low C on a cello. And it's just like droning on that, on the open cello string is how I have it set up. So you get that big boo on that you get on a cello. There's something about a C, and like a C on a double bass too. It's like that when you use the machine on a double bass, there's something about that kind of booming C that I like. It's that note. It's the note C. I don't know why. I'm into the note C. As someone who doesn't get ads, I forgot how frequent and intrusive they are. Yes. I probably should pay for like YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube. I need to watch more videos that Hardwick links, because he's always finding good ones. But I need to probably have the YouTube Premium. And the thing is, like, YouTube Premium is actually a really good deal if you're using YouTube Music a lot, because everything is on YouTube Music. Like, everything is on YouTube Music. It's crazy how much stuff YouTube Music actually has, now that I'm thinking about it. Like, they have stuff that none of the streaming services have. Because if somebody's just uploaded a video of it at some point, it ends up on YouTube Music. It's really crazy. Close, but it doesn't really matter. And again, I kind of want to go back and it's like there's some stray spots that just need to get cleaned up a little bit here. These are just a little messy sometimes, you know. 33% municipality tax, and we have a hidden tax called employer's fee. Then your employer pays the government when you get your salary. It's 31% of your gross salary. Good night. So we actually have that here. It's called payroll tax. It's 12.5%. Right. So if you're self-employed, which I am, your taxes are an extra 12.5%. That's the payroll tax. So a lot of people who are just employees don't realize that there's 12.5% of their income is being taxed, and it doesn't even show up because the employer is paying a payroll tax on their behalf. Kind of interesting. Actually, I think I can do a little cut through there. But it's certainly not 31%. The thing is, though, there's no, there's no universal health care, really. If you are at all financially okay, you're going to have to pay for your own health care. you only are going to get the government health care, the free health care, if you're like really low income. And it gets expensive, man. Health insurance is a lot. So you have to think that health insurance is another tax that you'll have to pay, because our system runs on health insurance. It runs on all these private companies that you have to deal with all the time to get, medicine and stuff like that. You can pay out of pocket, you certainly can, and I do that quite a bit to save money, because it's actually less money for most things if you pay out of pocket and you're reasonably healthy to carry a really minimal health insurance. Unfortunately, I have to carry pretty good health insurance for my kids. But yeah, that's a thing, right? Because in Sweden, chances are a big portion of those taxes are going to pay for your health care. I don't remember how much it is because I haven't looked into Sweden's economy in quite some time, but I'm pretty sure it's substantial. And so for a lot of people, they pay up to 15-20% of their income in health insurance. As insane as that sounds, there's people who have to do that because their premiums are very high because of like medical conditions and stuff that they have, that they need a lot of coverage in order to offset the cost of medications and things like that. Very common here to have to deal with that reality, unfortunately. So just be aware of that. If you were thinking of immigrating here, welcome. However, Texas is a little hot. Takes some getting used to. You get used to it after a while. And you're going to have to figure out your own health insurance. A lot of times employers, if you have a job, that'll be provided through your job. But in a lot of cases, it's quote provided through your job, but you still have to pay for it. When I was a public school teacher, I got paid an extra $11,000 a year that could only be used on health insurance. So my total compensation, that $11,000 wasn't taxed, but my total compensation was, I think I added it up, it was around $90,000 if you included that stuff. And it could have been higher. Like if I'd kept working, I'd be making over $100,000 a year easily as a school teacher. Part of that is seniority, like you get paid more for years worked. Part of that is that I have advanced degrees, so you get paid more for your advanced degrees. Part of that is kind of different. Oh, no, I'm doing that all on the wrong. I'm doing it again on the wrong layer. Stop and fix stuff. Okay, I'm gonna pause there. Let's take a look at the whole map. So if the employer's fee was not a thing, you could get a much higher salary. A lot of people in Sweden don't even know about the employer's fee. Yeah. So, and this is a thing with economics, is like, it doesn't matter to the employer if 20% of your salary is tax and 80% of it is wages. Right, there's just a cost of an employee. Our payroll tax here is 12.5%, which is, it's controversially high. A lot of people said, no, we should just get rid of the payroll tax and add 12% on income tax. People wouldn't be in favor of that. They still have this idea that somehow the employer is paying that payroll tax. And I'll quote Milton Friedman for that, which is that corporations do not pay tax. Only people pay tax, right? Only people pay taxes. So who's paying the taxes if the corporation? Are the employees paying the taxes? He'd say they are. It's just they're part of those taxes are they're just not showing up. And then is the company paying the taxes? Well, who's paying them? Is it the shareholders? Is it the executives? Right? No, it's really the employees, because the payroll tax is part of their compensation. So because that's part of the total cost of the employee, it's just compensation that they're not paid for. If you were to raise income tax by 12.5% across the board, like that's the minimum amount you pay. And the thing is that it doesn't matter how broke you are, you're still paying that 12.5%. You know, the 12.5% is there no matter what. So it keeps some people actually paying into the system even if they don't realize it. It just would be very unpopular because people would be like, no, the company should pay that tax. It's like, the company doesn't pay tax. Only people pay taxes. Companies don't pay taxes. There's no such thing as a company paying tax. All right, let me get this going here. Let's play a game. Do you want to play a game? Let me see here. Say ABBA are the most universally loved in Sweden. I've heard people really like ABBA in Sweden. But yeah, if you're like, man, I want to move to the US, come out and check out the US, because you may find a place that's like, I gotta be here, right? You know. You know, you may like Wisconsin because it's cold. If you make around $3,000 US gross in Sweden, you are taxed around 51%. Good night. Yeah. So that's the other thing too. When people here are like, no, you can be socialist like Sweden. I'm like, Sweden's not a socialist country. It's just it's a capitalist country with a large welfare state and really high taxes. You're just taxed a lot. I don't think you'd enjoy paying. See, they view that through the lens of like, well, there's magical Santa Claus who provides the free healthcare in Sweden. So we should all live like Sweden with their magical free healthcare. It's like that costs money. It costs the people of Sweden money to pay for that. The welfare programs cost money. It's, you know, taxes are high because you have to pay for things. And Sweden, unfortunately for them, doesn't have a global oil reserve currency that they can just print more of and get the full value of at least the first year that they print it, right? You kind of have to have some better money, which is going to limit what you can do. Yeah, you can't just print your way into spending money on welfare programs, right? Salaries in the U.S. seem so high. You said you could have made $100,000 U.S. as a teacher. Absolutely. There's a whole lot of propaganda here that teachers can't make a lot of money, and because people will interpret salary schedules in like the worst way. And so they'll look up salary schedules from Mobile, Alabama, which will have bad salaries because it costs nothing to live in Mobile, Alabama, right? So like the teachers are paid $50,000 a year there. Meanwhile, the median rent is like $1,500. Whereas in LA, yeah, you can make $90,000, $100,000 a year as a teacher, but the rent is so much worse. You're actually be better off making half as much in a different state. All right, you know, my rent when I lived in LA was $2,200 a month for rent, and we had to pay extra money at the end of the year in taxes, and it was just brutal living there. Absolutely brutal. We had state income tax and local income tax and sales tax, and rent was $2,200 a year. You know. LA was really, really tough to live. Really tough to live there. But we were by the beach, so that was nice. So you're paying for that, and we were by Disneyland, I guess. Yeah. Not all salaries are going to be that high, but it really depends what you're doing, you know? Yeah, the hot weather. The thing is, I'm looking at the year in review of Houston as far as the weather goes. We have hot weather. If you are used to Sweden, we have hot weather pretty much from like March through November. And we'll get one freeze a year. It'll get below freezing one time a year. It'll get below 0 Celsius. We had a little snow this year. We actually had it get freezing twice. So that would be like a kind of a brisk autumn day for a Swede. Not very cold, really, right? But now that I've lived here, I'm like, it's been a great year. It hasn't even gotten hot yet. It doesn't really feel hot in Houston until it gets to 90 to me. Anything in the 80s is pretty pleasant. Yeah, it's wet, it's humid, you're gonna sweat a lot, but it doesn't feel that bad. Especially if you're in the shade and you're well hydrated. It's actually really pleasant to be all the way through the 80s to me. Once you get to 90, that's when it starts to not be fun. 90 degrees Fahrenheit, which is, what is that? Close to 40, 40 Celsius. No, never mind. Yeah, it'd be like 35. Once you get to 35 Celsius, then it starts to actually really feel bad. But it'll get up to 40 Celsius. It'll get up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit for a week or two here, and that is really tough. I will say, though, that as it gets hotter here, this weird thing happens where because the hotter it gets, the lower the relative humidity gets. The vapor starts to burn out of the... So 104 here doesn't feel really any worse than 95. So if you're doing 40 Celsius or 35 Celsius, it feels basically the same. Once it gets up to 40 C, it's like... It's just drier. It's just a dry heat at that point. It's not pleasant. It's really bad, but it doesn't feel that worse than 95. It's the humidity that really gets you here, in my opinion. But the last year's been really pleasant. We've only had a couple weeks that were really hot, and everything else was really very nice. Anyway, let's launch this game and play a little bit for fun here while we talk about this. The only time healthcare is free is if it's charity, and one way to incentivize charity is not putting doctors in insane debt and taxing their wages like 30%. Well, that's actually not true. That's actually not true at all. There's Medicaid and Medicare, and sometimes those are covered 100%. In fact, they often are. So you have the government health insurance. Sometimes you have to pay for it. Sometimes it's subsidized up to 100%. So there is actually free healthcare, but it's a welfare program in the U.S. It's a welfare program. So the vast majority of people have to pay something, or if you are paying a premium, it'll be heavily subsidized. So the old people stuff, like the Medicare, which is the health insurance for old people, that's super heavily state subsidized. You still have to pay for it, but it's really cheap compared to the cost that comes out. It costs the government way more money than what the people pay into it, And actually, healthcare is also free. If you just show up to the emergency room, they can't refuse service. So illegal aliens in the United States get free healthcare, and all the citizens have to pay for it. And the way that they pay for it is illegal aliens simply don't pay the bills. They show up at an emergency room. You're legally required to treat them. You treat them, you bill them, and they just don't pay the bill. They just disappear from the bill. Or the other thing is medical debt doesn't affect your credit in the U.S., so people often forget this. So lots of people will just not pay their medical bills ever. They'll just never pay them. And so they get free health care if they choose to not pay their medical bills, which is a lot of illegal immigrants. People don't talk about this. You go to the emergency room, it's swarming with illegal immigrants. Why? That's how they get their health care. They wait till something hurts, they go to the emergency room, they get treatment, they get maybe a prescription, they buy the prescription if they need to, and then they just skip the bill. They just don't pay the bill. Really, really common. Really common, But, that is the thing. It's like we are putting doctors in insane debt. It's really expensive to get a medical degree. It's a very hard profession. It's very long hours. Very long hours. All right, let me fix this here. I worked in nursing during the pandemic and enjoyed the job, but low salary. Gross salary around $2,900 US per month. What would you say the salary for nursing is in the US? Well, let's look it up, right? There we go. You will have to buy your health insurance. There we go. So there we go. This guy says RNs make 120K. I looked it up. I don't know how much you missed. 95,000 is the US average. That comes out to about $8,000 a month. Okay. So yeah, the mic cable fell out the bottom of the mic. Sorry. That's my fault. All right, let's play this game a little bit. And this will be our wind down. We'll just hang out here and play some Expedition 33. Oh yeah, I wanted to get this chat into the other window so I could actually see what you guys were saying, you know. Yeah, so here in Spring, where I live, average RN salary, registered nurse, is 80,000. So that would be about 7,000, you know. 7,000 per month. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good salary. I think I've had John on the show. He works as a nurse in, where does he work? One of our Gulf Coast states. He does okay. We have that in Sweden as well for dental care. Illegals pay 50 SEK when checkup for everyone else is around 1,300. That's how it ends up working, right? Is that there's other ways that immigrants receive free healthcare in ways that people are not aware of, and one of them is through schools. Schools will actually pay for their healthcare in various ways. Because I worked in schools, we would pay for kids to go to the dentist if they didn't have dental care. But there'd be ways that they would do that, like through the welfare office and things like that. Lots of things. Plus, the schools were a point of delivery for welfare, which a lot of people don't think of schools as doing that, but that is the case for a lot of, you're giving free lunches and things like that. It's a point of delivery for welfare. Where's the game? Is this it? All right. So yeah, 95,000 a year. Okay. We'll try this game out a bit more. Is this plugged in or no? There we go. All right. Press any button. I do like the music of this. Oh, it's already 3, man. I'm not going to be able to play this very long. So I'm going to play for a few minutes and then hang it up. I got too involved in my game. All right, which way are we going? Going this way. Got a couple of these little graphical hiccups sometimes, like little screened shutters. Not sure what that's about. Also, I'm not sure if I'm going the right way. I don't know if I have a map. Press L to change characters. This doesn't affect battles. Okay. Well, I want to look at her for a little bit. This 32-year-old. This 32-year-old here. Average nurse salary here is around 44,000 US dollars. But like you said, there's probably like a lot of other hidden, 30%, add 30% onto that. That's, the hidden extra tax that everybody has to pay. Unfortunate that things work that way. The water looks pretty. This makes me think of like Final Fantasy X. The color of that water. That PS2 water. When approaching confined spaces, you will crouch automatically. Okay, great. She doesn't have shoes. Babe, what happened to your shoes? Expedition flag. Okay. I can learn new skills and stuff. All right. Go to the expedition flag. X. Save. All right. We'll rest. All right, upgrade attributes. So, let's see here. Might Vitality, agility, defense, and luck. What does luck do? Increases crit chance. Okay. This will increase attack power. I have 3 points available. So let's see where this guy is already at. I can't tell if he's already at a good amount, but 1 luck will also increase speed by 1, whereas agility will increase speed by 2 and defense by 1. Defense, just like direct, he has 0 defense. So this gives you 4 attributes. 1, 6. So that's interesting. Luck seems to be pretty good. You can reset your attributes anytime. So let's try like luck and defense and agility. 2 agility is better, right, than defense. So let's do that. All right. Looks good. Let's go to this girl here. What's her name? Oh, I forgot her name already. It doesn't matter. She already has some high crit here. Has some luck. Do like luck. Again, agility. Vitality. I feel like agility is like the good one here. Do 1 luck, 2 agility. All right. Seems like a good way to do this. Learn skills. Let's see what we've got here. Lumiere Assault. Overcharge. He has those. All right. Apparently I need some skill points. I don't have any skill points because I'm still level 1. Would this game qualify as steampunk? Boy, that is a great question. I think it might. I'm not going to pigeonhole it, though, because I'm not seeing like a lot of steam-powered stuff. I'm seeing it very aesthetically inspired by late 19th, early 20th century. It feels Art Deco, which is early 20th century. First strike. Use RB to attack an enemy first and gain an advantage of metal. Okay. Okay. How does this work? Okay. We got him. Okay. Let's see what we do here. Who's going first? Girl's going first? No, he's going first. Okay, I can aim at a weak point. And shoot it. Can I shoot this weak point too? And then what'll I do? Skills? Let's do just attack. Alright, let's see. Skills. Immolation. Ice Lance. Let's do Ice Lance. Oh, they're weak to ice. Perfect. Oh no, I need to dodge. What's the dodge button? A. A's dodge. RB is parry. Alright. So let's do... Alright, too slow. Alright, there we go. Like, I could see this being called new weapon. Oh, cool. Now, do I need to do anything here? Alright, weapons. Alright, we got a new weapon frame. Alright, cool. No, we go back and rest here. Oh, dude, she could fly. Look at her. Woo! I'm flying. Flying about. Learn skills. Wait, let's rest first. Alright, upgrade attributes. Let's see. Agility. What, does he need like 2 luck? So you need 2 luck, but it does increase the speed quite a bit. Health. Agility seems really good. Like, agility seems really good. Defense. Just straight up increase your defense more. Might. Might doesn't seem that great. Vitality also good. I'm tempted to just like all agility. Dude. Alright. And then let's get a little more defense here. Alright. That's what we got here. Luck. Agility. It's good. %10 crit. There we go. Alright. Now I can learn some skills. Let's see what we got here. Marking shot. Deals low single target lightning damage. 1 hit. Applies mark. Okay. Increases the damage. Applies powerful to 1 to 3 allies. Increases the damage they deal for 3 turns. Gives 0 to 2 charges. Let's try this one. Start. Right. And let's see. What is this? Healing light. Ooh. Heal seems good. I'm going to go with the heal. That seems like good utility. I just read that they're working on a live-action movie adaptation of this game. What? A lot of people think Robert Pattinson will get the Gustave role if he gets made. He looks like him. I think he'd be great. Of course, you could get the voice actor. Somebody mentioned the voice actor was the guy from Daredevil, which to me was really interesting. Maybe it was probably Hardwick. He knows all that stuff. Oh, this guy's back. All right, let's. All right. I gotta fight them again. I guess when you rest, it's like Dark Souls or whatever that respawns guys. Alright. Let's blow their faces up. I guess I can keep shooting them. Like, how often can I shoot them? Can I still do an attack? Or, yeah.
A storm is coming.
There we go. Perfect dodge. There we go. Let's do ice lance.
Ice shut.
Perfect. All right. Get something up here. Knew it.
This will be useful.
Chroma. But I'm not sure what Chroma does. We'll find out. We'll find out as we go. She's got this cool, like, Naruto run, but gliding.
An advantage.
New Pictos. 25% increased critical chance on burning enemies. Alright. We should definitely... we can do this critical burn there. Alright. More Pictos. Let's see what's up here. Uh-huh.
We can use that.
Which direction was I going? Oh, there's this guy. Let's get this guy. Got him. The voice actor's Charlie Cox. The mannerisms and facial expressions they gave Gustave resemble his too, although his appearance is closer to Robert Pattinson. Yeah. Shoot them both in the face. Does he have another weak point? Let's see one. Marking shot. Alright, let's try marking shot. Oh, I see. I gotta click A right at the end there. Dodged. Oh, I was too slow. There we go. Anything over here? I do like the way the environments look, and the lighting's nice. It's all very nice.
A house.
See, it's
Looks abandoned.
like this looks very like late 19th century, moving into Art Deco. Which Art Deco, a lot of people associate Art Deco with like early 20th century America, if you live in America.
This will be useful.
But it's really started in France, is my understanding. Sorry. It's kind of cool to think about.
The indigo tree's not too far from here. If anyone else made it, they'll regroup there.
Yeah.
What's this? Oh, there's a rope. I love all the stuff floating around, too. Anything up here? Of value? Or no?
Here we are. Huh?
Yeah. The continent. The indigo tree's over there.
What's the indigo tree? Look at this. Well, that is an eye-opener. Alright, there's a little save point there. I can carry there. This guy's over there. There's a little thing. Pick up.
Nice.
Some chroma. It might be a currency. Apparently, oh, we can upgrade more attributes. Let's see what we want here. That's pretty good. Upgrading defense gives us critical. That's weird. Maybe. Okay. Let's see what she's got here. Yeah, that's weird, right? Alright. Learn skills. We have some more skills here. So. Unlock that skill. Assign skill. We have it here. Alright. Guess you can only have so many skills at a time. Okay, we got the heal spell. This is like a rebirth. Oh, that's a resurrect. Earth damage, fire damage. So that's an AoE. AoE. So those are probably good. I'm feeling like you could do fire or earth. So it's probably better to pick one. Let's do fire. Thunderfall, Immolation. Alright. Alright. Which way do we want to go? So many options. Should we go kill this guy first? Let's kill this guy. Let's see what's up. It's kind of a bland... It's kind of a blend of both, though. Some Nouveau, some Deco. Yeah. Oh, they caught me unawares because I was looking at the chat. But I do like the inspirations. Wait, hold on. She can aim with fire, apparently. Can I hit him again there? That didn't do anything. Alright. Let's do skills. Let's do immolation. As we do that.
Feel the burn.
Okay, that didn't do nothing. Alright. Is there anything else to hit him with there? No? Alright. Skills. There he goes. Yeah, just gaming late at night, just winding down. Lumina alert. Dodger, okay. There's something purple. What's in the purple here?
Nice.
Lumina point to a character, okay. Just hold on to that stuff. My thought.
This will be useful.
Chroma Catalyst can be used at camp to upgrade weapons up to level 3. Okay. Have to figure out how that works as we go here. Oh, there's something over here.
An advantage.
Let's go get this guy. Oh, almost killed him. Here we go. Okay. Okay. What do we have here? We have a little thing here.
Well, that will help.
More chroma. Alright, what do I do here? Aha! Go up here. We can look out at this stuff. Very nice. I like the music too. Oh, here's the mime again. This ridiculous mime. Alright. The mime protects itself. Can I shoot him in the eye? Alright, that doesn't do nothing. Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, let's do the assault. Pressing this a little too early. What do you think? Ice Lance?
Ice. Shut.
Too slow. Too slow, Joe.
Watch out!
Okay. Immolation. Let's try it. Well, now he's burning at least. Overcharge. Can't do that yet. Attack. Mine burns. Alright, that killed her. I don't know how to dodge those. You know? Hold on. Skills. Overcharge.
Let me paint death!
Mine burns. Let me retry this one. Hit you 5 times. Expedition failed. That wonderful font. Where am I? So put me back here. We'll try it again. See what's up. I don't know if I could. This is telling you this is like not the way you're supposed to go or what. But I think this is the only way we can go. So I have to get past the mime boss. I have to learn the mime. Which means dodging. Okay, let's see a weak point. Is overcharge. Let me try it.
Ah, this was weak.
A storm is coming.
Is there anywhere that would be weak? Shoot him in the nuts. Alright, so that's interesting. It's a hard one. Heal yourself. Oh, apparently I can, like, press A rapidly to heal myself. Let's get our max skills up here. Marking shot. Okay.
Let us stain them.
Now I'm out of heals here. Is this game as good as they say? I've only heard positive things about it. It's okay. I'm not crazy about the combat. I'm not crazy about the gameplay.
I'll do it.
Use our heal. Oh, I forgot I have to press buttons for that.
Let me paint death!
Alright, now he's broken. He's burning.
Stain them.
Get ready.
Well, I dodged one.
No margin for error.
Okay.
Ah, this was weak.
Brace yourselves. Chrome is flowing.
Ah, I got hit by the last one, and I'm silenced. I think I'm going to get him down there, though. Alright, I beat the mime. The President of France, Emmanuel Macron, told the game's creators, "You are a shining example of French audacity and creativity." It's pretty good. Like, that was a challenging little fight there. I got a little beret. I got a beret hat and a silly mime shirt. And I got Lumina that I learned. Okay. Where do we go from here? Anywhere? Is there somewhere to go? We just came from there. So there's got to be somewhere else here. Right? Maybe not. I don't know. I think I'm going to be done after this, though. I'm tired. I'm actually wound down. Is there a map? How do I look at the map? Is there a map? I could turn on a game bar here. Look for the survivors at the indigo tree. Is that the indigo tree? I thought that was it. Very pretty. Is there a way over there? Maybe there's a clue here somewhere. Or did I come this way for nothing? Maybe there's another way over there that I didn't see. Let's backtrack a little bit. And see if we find another way. Maybe we can go this way. Hard to tell. Which way the pressure lies. Okay. Is there another way up there? Like maybe we were supposed to go that way. I don't know. Maybe. Maybe we went the wrong way. I went and fought the mime boss for nothing. Possibly. Alright, here's a cutscene. Oh, bad guys. And I didn't heal up. My guys are like seriously hurt. She died. Yeah, can I go back to a save? We'll go back. See where it puts us. Oh, back here. So we fought the mime. At least we don't have to fight the mime again. You know. But we got an outfit for killing the mime. It was a hard little fight. And we'll actually save the game and log off this time. Very pretty. Okay. I really need to go to bed. Today or tomorrow, whatever, I guess it's currently today. It's my 11th wedding anniversary. 11 years. All right. Quit. All right. that's it for me, folks. I will see you all next time. Have a great one. And yeah, I appreciate it. See you all next time. Have a great, great day.